It's another episode of Circle of Trades. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Travis Waldstein.
I'm in house today.
Yeah, back in house.
There.
I always like it when you come and see me. You don't have any idea how much easier these things are to work with.
You know
We're
what?
actually in
I
person.
enjoy being a pain in your ass.
Well, it's one of the reasons you're so happy, because you're so good at it.
I'm a natural. There ain't no doubt about it. So,
Well, we are getting into spring really well. We've got, you can see the temperatures keep getting warmer and warmer. Probably done with the furnace calls, right?
well, I don't know. They say it's supposed to be 30 degrees. It's supposed to snow in northwest Iowa tomorrow. So.
That's northwest Iowa. They can have
But
it.
it's supposed to be cold here too. Everybody's complaining like, "Oh, people plant their garden," and I'm like, I see people mowing. I'm like, "Well, we're not mowing until next week." So.
You haven't mowed yet?
Oh hell no! Why? Okay.
Well, you live out in the country. So,
I
yeah.
live out in the country. So here's my philosophy. So, there's people that live in these bougie neighborhoods, and I live out in the country, and I live around farmers, and farmers are great. We need the rain, we need the moisture. But going back to, so why would you spend money to fertilize your yard, to water your yard, so you can spend more money to have somebody, because you're not mowing it, to have somebody else mow your yard because you want to have green grass? So, it's what's the point?
It's one of my favorite things about Arizona.
Yeah, there is no grass.
There is no grass.
I mean, and not that I mean, I enjoy mowing. I actually enjoy it. But I'm like, I do not understand this. I mean, money down the drain. I mean, you might as well just go to a casino and just play craps. Mm-hmm. I mean, because you're throwing your money away. Now, your yard might look great, but who cares unless you play golf? And I'm a terrible golfer, so And I've asked about golf lessons a month ago, and no one wants to try to even talk to me about golf lessons. So either I'm that terrible, which I probably am, or nobody wants to work with me at golf lessons. So I guess when I'm a hack this summer, it's going to be other people's fault.
Well, if you are in the Council Bluffs area and can give golf lessons, here's a client.
There you go. Just give me a call. I will make the time. So,
what kind of you like to mow? Are you doing a zero turn? Are you on just a big tractor? What are you mowing with?
I used to have a zero turn, but out of my place out in the country, my backyard's flat as can be, but my front yard is like this. It's on a hill, and so guess what? A zero turn, especially if it's a little bit of moisture due. Yeah, so no, I got a John Deere 700 series. It's got the 4-wheel steer and all that stuff, but it's a tractor. I mean, it's the zero turn. I can mow a little bit faster, but the tractor, on a zero turn, I feel like I'm going to fall over because there's no weight underneath of me.
Yeah.
With the tractor, I don't have to worry about it. Tractor's not going to tilt over because, like I said, I get on the one side hill down towards the bottom. It's pretty sketchy. So
I once was on one of those zero turns, great big yard, had about a 45 horsepower motor in it. I was mowing at 15 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And not missing any blades. This thing was just a mowing machine. And I enjoyed the heck out of that.
I got a 60-inch deck on mine, a 60 or 62-inch deck. I could get a 72, but I'm like, you know what? For what it is, I don't have because between the chickens and all the other stuff that we have, some places where there was grass, there isn't a whole lot of grass, so it's kind of like, okay, whatever. So, I mean, I enjoy it. Weed whacking, I kind of give or take that. So, I admit, as I got older, I've got a Milwaukee electric weed whacker. You know why? Because the gas ones are heavier than hell. And that's the one thing. I love my diesel truck. I'll never own an electric car, but you know what? Electric weed whackers are okay because you know what? They're not that heavy. So,
yeah, they are a little bit lighter, and you're not dragging a cord with you if it's one of those corded ones.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right about the gas. They just got some weight to it. And usually it's that mixed gas, so you got to mess with all of that.
Well, you know what the cool part is they've got now with the gas, you can buy the 50-to-1 premix. So you don't have to do the gas mix.
I always wondered why we didn't have that when I was a kid.
I'm going to tell you what, and here's the deal, you don't have to worry about going bad. I'm not saying it won't go bad, but I've had it on the shelf for 2 years. The where you use it, put it away. I haven't had to go gas. And usually in the wintertime, I'll put the winter conditioner in so it doesn't, so your gas doesn't varnish up. So I've done that, and I really haven't had a problem with that premix gas. I am a fan of that. So although for my if I got like my chainsaw or anything where I have to mix it, I don't mess around with mixing. I just buy the premix and I'm done with it.
That would be the way to go. Yeah, and I haven't had anything that I've had to mix gas for a long time, but was never fond of doing that.
The worst part locally, and I don't say this, Blue Wall's a friend of mine, and I know he doesn't sponsor anything, so you're probably losing money when I bring his name up, but
I don't care.
I love Blue, but he used to have his Bluff small engine repair. There, I don't know if there's a a 2-cylinder shop repair in Counts Bluffs. It used to be Ace Hardware, Westlake would do it, and you used to have 4 or 5 places where you go fix. You get a 2-cylinder fix. Good luck. I think anymore. You better either know somebody. Luckily, I have a couple friends, 2, you go to Omaha. It's hard. So this small 2-cylinder gas stuff, I think the problem is the stuff has kind of almost got to be a throwaway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where it's $200, and if I got to what's the word I want to use? And you got to spend $150 to fix $200. They'll go throw it away and buy a new, which to me is kind of crazy, but I guess it's kind of the world we live in now. So
and nobody's going to fix those for free. And you're right. You can pick up a mower for $200 or $300. So
I cheap. So if you're doing it cheaper, but I mean, it's crazy. It's too bad because you get a lot of small engine mechanic guys or guys that tinker with motorcycles and stuff. I mean, I could do that stuff, but I am not a good carburetor person. If you need to tune in a carburetor, I am 100% the wrong person, so I can screw it up as bad. That's why I got a couple buddies of mine that are really good with that stuff, and I'm like, thank goodness, because if it was up to me, it'd be like,
So if anybody knows Blue Wall, let him know we were talking about him on the show. Yeah. Also, if anybody over at Dahl Distributing, let them know we've got the product placement here.
It's a Friday afternoon. It's called people are telling me what they can't do, and I need people to tell me what they can do in their life. So it's motivational Fridays.
Well, you came up here and you said, "Man, I could really use a beer," and I said, "You know what? We've got that for you."
I got beer here. There you go.
Well, so we do everything that we can do, and we're full service.
Well, let's talk Celebrate CB for a minute.
We can do that.
I saw a deal come out today. What's it, 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks from today or 3 weeks from today?
May 9th.
May 9th. So that'd be, today's the 17th, 24th. So 3 weeks from,
okay.
So 3 weeks
as
from
we're
today.
Recording this, yeah.
Yep. So 3 weeks from today. You're going to be the mouth of Celebrate CB, right?
I am going to be doing a live webcast. So we're going to be doing that. Kyle's going to be running all the cameras. I think we're going to throw Carlene behind a mic too. And we are going to be doing a live webcast of everything that's going on. So we'll have a pre-parade show and the full parade, multiple cameras. If I have my way, we're going to throw a camera up on the roof looking down because where we're sitting now, the parade actually goes both sides of this building.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah,
so we can actually put a camera up on the top of the roof and point straight down, and we're going to look just like NBC in the Rose Parade.
It'd probably be more exciting than the Rose Parade, too.
Are you putting your putting stuff in it again?
I don't know. That's kind of a last minute deal. We've done it the last couple of years, but, when kids are running in front of excavators when you're pulling a trailer.
They're all out there chasing that candy, which, by the way, people are not supposed to be throwing. You can hand things, but you can't throw them.
Hey, just remember, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
Well, that's true. But and Celebrate CB also going in with Railroad Days this year. So they're combining the two together. Railroad Days is usually in the fall.
Yeah, so they moved it to springtime now.
So they moved it now. So we've got all the people in town anyway. So that Saturday and Sunday will be Railroad Days. And
so are they going to have stuff from the museum down here on 16th Avenue, then up to the Dodge House and over to Omaha?
Yep,
okay.
Same kind of thing where they
really?
always. So Ollie the trolley will be running around picking people up at drop-off sites, and there'll be stuff at the 100 block. There'll be Dodge House, the different rail museums. Pace is doing something.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I didn't realize that they were actually going together on that. So,
Yeah.
because usually what happens, they do the railroad is really cool, but it's hotter than blazes. They wait till August. Let's do it. It's 103 degrees so we can live like they did in the 1800s and sweat, no deodorant. So but actually, if you go through to them, we did it. Oh, it's probably been 5 years ago, but they got the museum down there on 16th Avenue. They got the depot, and they got the cars out there, and a lot of times they would take you up to the Dodge house and then the house right next to it.
Right.
So you could do that and kind of walk through, and then there was one other place I believe here in Council Bluffs, but then they take you over to Omaha too to a couple of. No, that's a great idea. So if you don't want to go do the fun and games down in Bayless Park on the 100 block,
well, they got rid of the Midway a long time ago.
Yeah,
so they're not doing that anymore. The Pancake Man will be in the park before the parade. That's pancakes for $5, and there'll be other activities for kids there.
I have a great idea. You know what? I think they should put all the candidates to run for county board of supervisors. I think you should have a ball toss. With the dunk tank. Everybody's running for county board of supervisors. We should just put dunk tanks for each one of them, and you get paid $1 to throw balls. And the one that gets the most money wins.
Isn't that there's 9 of them, right?
9 of them.
Yeah, there's 9 running, and I think there's 3 seats available. So this is it's going to be an interesting.
You know what? Like I said, 9. Just think about that. 9 dunk tanks.
That'd be fun. Well, and plus, here's what you could do is you could just line up right all together the sensors that cause somebody to drop into the water. So all you have to do is just hit this big thing and somebody's going down.
Yeah. Or they maybe y'all go down.
That'd be fun too.
I think. You know what? Why not add a little bit of fun to the pre-tax? So,
yeah, it's a new way to elect county board of supervisors.
We're gonna do a water ball toss. There you go. I think if I find somebody to sponsor that.
Let's see if we can put that together. I bet I know a sponsor that would let us do that. we could throw Waldstein Plumbing all over that thing.
We'll pay for the water tanks.
There you go. Or even better yet, cut the top off of septic tanks and we'll use septic tanks.
Oh,
see now we're going full into the marketing thing.
Yeah, maybe you could touch the Northwest Concrete and Storm Lake. They got them 2,000 gallon tanks with the big holes. So we wouldn't actually have to cut them out. We could use them afterwards, sell them as demo units.
I think we're onto something. Yeah, I think this will work.
There you go. So, but no, all right, now that we're done being sarcastic, no, I'm actually looking forward to. I do enjoy Celebrate CB. I have to admit. Sometimes I get more involved with it is, but it is early enough in May. School's still, you get the bands, you get the different stuff. I do think it is important as far as celebrating the community and what it is, and getting people together. I know some people like it, some people don't, but I think overall, I think it's a great experience for the community. I think every town should have it. Most of the towns here, I know Underwood has 4th of July. I know they have Hoodoo Days up in Neola, around Labor Day, and I know Trainer's got theirs in mid-June. I think it's great that these small towns have something to get people to come back to town for and be excited. So I like to support as much of that as we can. So I think it's fantastic.
Well, I think you're spot on with that. It's important to be proud of where you live, and it doesn't necessarily mean at the exclusion of every other place. We do a pretty good job around Southwest Iowa of. We go and visit each other's towns. We go and eat in their restaurants and the shops, and they come and shop here and eat in restaurants. I appreciate the community feel that you get all across the region.
Well, whether it's a local bar in Carson or going out, like I said, going to a small town where they have a mom and pop restaurant, whatever it is, and just kind of showed up there. I mean, shopping at the local grocery store in town and not the Dollar Generals, and do it. Now, as far as people that that are doing stuff local, I think that's really huge. So.
Yeah, and there's a little grocery store in Neola now that is.
Did they open it? Was it closed?
No. I don't know that if they'd closed it or not, but I know they do a pretty good business just from Arrowhead. Folks that camp in there, and everybody will go in and stock up for the. I did. That's where I go if I need.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good grocery store up there, actually. So I've stopped in there a few times and got.
Yeah, there's something about the smell in a small grocery store, and I can't really place it. It's kind of like it doesn't matter what hardware store you go into, they all smell the same.
I think we talked about this. It's kind of like you walk to casinos and they put the smell in the ductwork. I think they put something in the ductwork to give you the smell.
You would know about what's going in ductwork.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you should wonder, but there might be something to that. So.
It's I can't really place it. I remember it when I was a kid, and we would go to the different grocery stores there. There used to be a tiny store, if I remember right, in Mallard, Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to go there. Yeah, I do remember that because my mother would get the little green stamps that we'd put in those books. I don't know what we ever got from it.
Yeah.
And then there was the different stores in Emmitsburg that we used to go to when I was a kid. There was the Super Value. There was a Red Owl. Do you remember that store?
I remember.
And one other one. I don't remember which one that was.
You didn't live till you'd been in the Mag's grocery store in Spencer, Iowa. it was 4 blocks from the high school. You get your candy, you get your pop, and you get your cigarettes. So the back in the 80s when they were still serving cigarettes to juvenile delinquents.
Back when your mother could give you 75 cents, you'd
go pick up a bag of cigarettes up in bags. It was definitely a different time. Yeah, if you tried to do that today, you'd probably go to jail for it. So.
Oh, I was pumping gas before I was 10.
Yeah.
And I used to beg to do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And nobody thought anything about it.
If you're in Oregon, you'd probably go to jail for it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but you'd go to jail in Oregon for a lot of things. So. But
we love everyone in Oregon. Yeah. Please send your cards and letters to Travis Waldstein.
Yeah, 3319 Nebraska Avenue, Suite 2, Council Bluffs, Iowa.
At least you didn't give your home address.
No, I did not give my home address. So.
No, it's going to be it's going to be a great time, and there's going to be stuff going on all week, and looking forward to being out there. The live webcast went very well last year, so we're bringing it back again this year. And the cool thing about it is you don't have to watch it live.
No.
This is on demand now. So you can watch it live if you want to, but it's going to be available, forever. You can go back and watch last year's on YouTube.
There you go. That sounds like a blast. So
yeah, you can watch all the growing pains that we had trying to figure out how all of this worked. I think Kyle actually turned the feed on about 30 minutes before we started broadcasting. So it's a much longer video.
It's a lot. Yeah, the first 3 minutes, like, beep, get to this point.
Yeah, so, that's kind of how that works. Yeah. So how's everything else going?
Good. Springtime. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of sewer repairs. Lots of, quotes for ACs. Doing quite a bit of service work here recently. You can tell spring's coming if you know what I'm saying. So, pretty happy about. With where things are. Got a lot of stuff we're doing. Some work out Iowa Western. We're actually into Whispering Oaks. If you've been out by Greenview Road here recently, buildings are starting to pop up out there. Clubhouses definitely come along. First building is covered in, and they got some garages up, and it's starting to look like a apartment complex, and I know we did the South Point up at Eagle Construction, and it sounds like that building has filled up really rapidly. I think it's better than what they thought. I know they're talking to phase 2. Originally they were thinking a couple of years, but it sounds like there's probably plans coming out for that this fall. So they talk about the multifamily and development. It sounds like that they're not having an issue finding people to move into these places, which, I think that was a little bit of a concern, but it does not sound like that is, so it's pretty exciting. I know we're doing a bunch of work out there, too, at the Hills of Cedar Creek. I know that. I know, like, over in Trainer, I know that there's, I know that they've been talking about that going on.
Yeah, I think there's 36 houses going in over
But
there.
yeah, Blake Hunter, and yeah, it sounds like if they can get the utilities and the surveys plotted out, like I said, I'm not at liberty to say who, but it sounds like the first they've already got maybe one or two of the lots possibly sold and ready to build over there if they can get stuff done. So, which I think that property will go, uh, pretty quick. Lots of stuff I see. I'm not 100% sure what's going on west of not Gal, I almost said Gallup, but Google. They're on Veterans Highway, but they're clearing all that out and all the bushes and all the old debris. So I don't know if that means Google's going in there or if there's another server farm. I know Iowa Western out there off of Highway 6, right there next to the interstate. That's that server. They've got I guess a server farm, for lack of a better way to call it. And then where the driveway is going to Iowa Western off to the west, that's where they're building their new diesel shop. So I know that. So there's a lot of construction activity going on in Council Bluffs right now, which I think is very positive. It means jobs, people are working, opportunities are coming. What that means for future jobs and opportunities. Who knows? I know. I'm on the advisory council with Iowa Western, with the apprenticeship program HVAC. We're working some stuff with that too. This week's National Apprenticeship Week, or National Apprenticeship Month. So, and there was a feed that came out today with my son talking about the plumbing and the apprenticeship and the stuff with that, which I thought was a very nice deal that Iowa Western had put on. So, lots of stuff going on, lots of opportunities going on. I think it's actually a pretty exciting time to be involved in the community as far as Council Bluffs and Pot County in general.
I think also it is going to be some great opportunities for some young people that are coming up, because all of this construction needs people on site doing the work. AI hasn't figured out how to do that yet. So that means jobs need to be filled. And anybody would want to fill those close to home, as opposed to bringing people in. I know that there's transient construction workers because there's different campsites where they'll just drag their camper and stay someplace for several months and then go someplace else and do that. And that's a life for some if they want to be able to live it. But to find the work closer to home and the growth that we're seeing, I think is it's a positive thing.
Well, I think going down to Highway 370, that's another one you take a look at down on 370 if you haven't been down there in a while. Obviously, they've got that. They've got Google down there. They've got the soybean plant down there, and then they've got a lot of stuff for the utilities and stuff. But S&B dog kennels down there. I see that they're building a huge warehouse for one of the highway sign companies. I mean, that is starting to actually, on the north side of the road, that's really starting to fill in as far as stuff is going on down there too. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff to where there's businesses, there's opportunity, there's activity going on that if you lived here 20 years ago, you probably never thought you'd see in your lifetime. So it's it's pretty exciting. Plus, the other thing I know that's coming about, I'm not sure how this will affect Council Bluffs, but there's that state west of us called Nebraska. But I had to put a little bit of a dig in. But they are actually putting a bypass in. It's basically going to be the 34 bypass.
Okay.
All right, so if you get off at Highway 34 and go west, right now it's 2-lane. It goes over to 75. Well, right now it stops there. They're going to extend that out, and I think it's going to end up south of Gretna. For a 4-lane on the interstate. So if you want to, let's say you're coming across and you're for some reason going to Kansas City or whatever, but it sounds like they're going to do. You have a southern bypass of the Omaha metro area. So if you want to cut across, or you don't want to find the traffic through Omaha, that's going to be an option for you.
Yeah, it's going to work for now, but you know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's going to develop.
It's going to develop because once you have that type of road access, easy for semis getting in and out and all of that, you just see it explode. I've seen other cities do this. Atlanta did this. They built a perimeter all the way around Atlanta, and the city just exploded all the way past it. And now 285 going around Atlanta is just as much inside of downtown as any other place because it grows, and Omaha's growing.
Yeah, but that's another thing you see, and I'd be kind of curious to see how that affects particularly Mills County. I know when I was on Carlene's show a couple weeks ago, she wasn't even aware of it, but I know that's something that, it's going to affect, down there in particular. But like I said, it's really interesting to see the growth, the opportunities that are, available. So,
well, it's as we said, it's a good time to be here. I'm glad you brought up Celebrate CB. I actually did a show on it just recently and talked about the history behind it and how they used to get celebrity grand marshals here all the time.
Really?
Yeah, Mr. T was the first one, and they Jay Leno's been here, and Johnny Carson, and there was all football players. Gordon from Sesame Street. Yeah, it used to be a big thing. So.
Speaking of celebrities, did you hear about George Foreman?
Oh, about being
buried up in Sioux City.
In Sioux City. What was that about? I don't know. What's his tie to Sioux City? I don't know.
Evidently, this is going back to the late 80s. In the 80s, he would have been, oh boy, probably, he was still boxing at that time. And I think they're talking about he went through the Olympic trials or something. This is in Los Angeles. And he took a bunch of time off and just kind of meandered and did whatever George Foreman does in his off time. And he drove through Iowa, and he thought Iowa was freaking wonderful. He must have drove through here in May or something, right, or September. But he just absolutely loved the scenery and the countryside. And evidently he didn't mind the smell of Sioux City because,
Oh,
I mean, I guess John Morrell's not there anymore.
This is your show. You can say what you want.
But back in the 80s, Sioux City smelled like John Morrell. Now it only smells like, Tyson when the wind's blowing from the southwest.
Or, look, there's other towns. Go to Cedar Rapids. What does Cedar Rapids smell like?
But it's a packing town, okay?
Yeah.
But, it depends. Listen, can you smell Dakota City? Well, if the wind's blowing from the southwest, you can smell Dakota City. It's a packing town. It's a heavy industry. I'm not knocking Sioux City. But, yeah, he decided he wanted to be buried on a bluff in Sioux City, Iowa. And they just had a 1-year anniversary. They got this huge freaking, headstone with him and his Olympic whatever. And his family came up from Houston. They're like, why is he buried? I thought it was like a meme.
Yeah.
And this is really, it says he loved freaking Iowa. It's like, who would have thought? The guy who invented the George Foreman grill would want to, it's probably his best selling state in the country, and that's why he decided he wanted
that
to
could
die
be.
there.
I owned one once.
We owned one too.
Yeah.
We probably still own one if we dug deep.
If you dig
the George Foreman grill. Oh,
yeah, I lost the little grease tray that went underneath of it, so I'd stopped using it. I used that thing quite a bit.
Yeah. But I was like, you haven't. I'm like, really? So next time you're up at Sioux City against the Charlie Boys at Miles Inn, you go around and you go up to, I can't remember the name of the cemetery there in Sioux City. Drive up and pay homage. Leave them a bush light,
Bush light.
I mean,
I don't think George drank, but who knows? Maybe.
In the afterlife, maybe you'll have one.
There you go.
There you go. So.
All right. Well, a lot of great information, and it's spring just does it to me. I start to feel a whole lot better. You get out of the winter doldrums. I got a camping trip planned coming up in the next few days, and it's time to spend some time outside.
Yeah, there you go. As long as I got a bed and air conditioning and and electric for my sleep apnea machine, we're good with that.
That's all you need.
That's all I need. So.
Well, thank you very much for watching this episode of Circle of Trades. Travis and I will be back very soon with another one. So we'll see you then.
See you soon.